Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. So welcome, Mary Bell, our new and first meeting. And do you just want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Maribel Cruz Reyes. I was born and raised here in Escondido. I work at Providence San Marcos. I've been going to the Smith Library for as long as I can remember. Even when we had the East Valley branch.
Oh, wow.
So nowadays, a lot of it's digital resources. I have a little one. He's going to be turning one soon. So he's going to be using some of the younger programming soon. So I'm really excited because I've been seeing a couple of them and I was like, can't wait. Yeah, so I'm excited to be joining the board.
Thank you for volunteering your
Thank
time.
you, John.
Do we have any oral communications? Okay, good. So we'll look at the minutes. If everyone's had a chance to review, we're ready for a motion.
I think in item number 4 under current business, it references John as the secretary, but he was not the secretary at that time. Page 4.
I haven't been the secretary for 2 years.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Oh, under trustee library use report too, first bullet point.
And then it should be Secretary Bunnell, right? You were secretary, so where Virginia's name appears, that should be changed to secretary.
Oh, and switch John to.
Yeah.
Trustee.
Bless you. Secretary, yeah.
I mean, at what point do they switch over? Because, so she would have, okay. So she still would have been secretary.
The minutes were reflecting currently, but John should be secretary, but then. John should be trustee. Well, at the last meeting, John was trustee.
Yeah,
No, I thought he was secretary.
I was secretary.
Secretary.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so then I'll switch it and then we'll see. And then at this next meeting, it'll be, I'll make the updates and then we'll wrap it in.
So we,
So we will approve a motion.
okay,
With the corrections, I'll mark
Okay.
the corrections on the notes for this time for the minutes.
Okay. All right.
And then we'll make the correction, and then do you want to start signing them for Virginia for this round?
For this round, yeah. So you'll start signing them moving forward
okay.
for this meeting and
You'll do
on.
it through DocuSign.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so I will motion to approve the minutes with the corrections stated.
Second.
Yep.
Aye.
Motion approved 5-0.
Okay. Next item is new library subcommittee. Trustees will discuss a potential to form a new subcommittee to examine the need for, cost of, and financing opportunities for the new library.
You have something that you were gonna, when I put that on the agenda item, you guys wanted to say something?
That was for the outreach committee.
Ah, okay.
But I will mention, just so you're aware, with the new library subcommittee, this item was updated. This is the updated version, just because the way I had originally written it would not have been in compliance with the Brown Act. So basically, just being aware as trustees that you can't use city resources, equipment, staff, and facilities to work on a campaign to advocate for any local ballot measure related to financing a new library, but you may discuss and consider whether the board would ultimately support a measure. And that was an important distinction that the city attorney wanted to make sure it was clear. So that verbiage is in that item.
Okay, let me paraphrase an email that Carolyn, Jack, and I sent to Sean McGinnis last week, was it? Yeah. Basically, with the city's current financial situation, it made no sense to us for the city and the community to be focused on anything else except getting the city healthy financially, and that we'll continue to work on the side outside of city personnel to grow our committee. And when things are straightened out, we'll be back at it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Okay.
Any other comments on that one? Okay. Moving on to discuss meeting dates and times. So currently, we are scheduled to meet the second Thursday of the month at 2 p.m. with a special meeting on October 12th at 6 p.m. due to scheduling conflict with the city. And we just want to check in to make sure that that time works for our current board. Anyone have any comments?
I'm good with it. You,
I would support moving the meeting times to a later time. I think as a working professional, it's easier to adjust our work schedule to be able to leave early rather than having to extend and work later into the evening. I think in interest of also in the future recruiting future board people that are also working, I think that would be one barrier that we can remove.
I agree. I had expressed that same concern in the past. If we move it to maybe at the end of a workday, it might encourage people that do work to apply for future positions. I'm just throwing an idea out there. Would a 4 o'clock time work?
Are you talking about the special meeting, or you're talking about moving the, okay, so we just need to update the bylaws, because so we would just,
Yeah.
you guys decide. But you're okay with the 6 p.m., is that gonna be the regular, instead of we used to do 1 p.m. for the special meetings, that could happen
Oh,
4 times a year,
mhm.
because of conflict with the Transportation Commission. So we used to do it at 1 p.m. for the specials, which we can do, are we gonna continue to do 6 p.m.?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 6 p.m. for sure, yeah. Okay, is there any other city department that has to be coordinated with if we move it to 4 o'clock?
For the regular?
Yeah.
I don't think there's a conflict, let me check, but I can mark down that you guys want to change it to 4 p.m. and then I think we just need to update the bylaws or whatever. It says it on the website.
Okay.
I don't think anybody else meets on Mondays at 4 on the
Second Thursday, yeah.
I'll double check though.
Does that work for library staff, Katie?
Yeah, I would like Dara. I obviously can't speak for her, but in the past, she's been in support of just adjusting to whatever the trustees need to do.
Okay. Carolyn, what are your thoughts on it?
I agree.
Okay.
I can do 4 and 6, yeah.
Francis?
I support any time, but back Maribel there with the later times.
Okay.
Okay, I'll make a motion then to change our regular meeting time to 4 p.m. on the second Tuesday of every month. And then for our special meetings, that will shift to a 6 p.m. Thursdays, not Tuesdays, right? Did I say Thursday? Did I say, okay, sorry. 4 p.m. meetings on Thursdays, and then our specials sessions will be at 6 p.m. on Thursdays.
Okay.
Okay.
So that was a motion. We need a second.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is Library Outreach Committee.
Okay, so this is just an update. So trustees said they would form a committee to focus on reaching out to the community to promote library resources. Last time, President Bunnell recommended that we add an intern to create and manage a library TikTok account. And library administration staff are in discussion with the city's communications department. We have to do some research on logistics and what that looks like and whether that's something that they can support as well. So we are definitely wanting to look into that and report back on that. But as I mentioned before, Daryl won't be here till the September meeting. So the recommendation is to wait to, at least for that part of the discussion, until the September.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that, this is not a reflection on the library staff. I think I mentioned that we heard all this feedback that from community people at the focus meetings that they had no idea that all these programs were offered. But in talking to Debbie Joy and Patricia Crosby in the past, we're not alone. This is a common problem all over the country. So, yeah.
I'm just want a little bit more clarification because to me this looks like it's a two-parter, right? So one is the part about forming the committee, and then I think the other part is regarding the intern. So how is that? Going to be one separate from the other, or is the intern part of the committee? If you can elaborate.
So last time, the discussion was about how to get the word out, right? How to improve marketing to get the word out about library resources. It's something we've always struggled with, and as John said, it is definitely something that everyone here is in agreement that we would love to find ways to do that. And yes, I mean, absolutely, if you guys, like, the committee part is on up to you, but one of the suggestions that was made in order to get more engagement and get the word out, especially to our teen demographic, is to create a TikTok account for the library that would be updated and posted. We did discuss the fact that we have a 9-person social media team, and due to our staffing, their main duties are elsewhere in the library, so they do that as part of their duties. And so taking on TikTok with the amount of time and energy it would take to stay on top of keeping content current and making sure they're on the trends and getting that feedback would be a little bit more than we could handle. And so President Bunnell asked if we could maybe look into getting a teen intern and potentially paying it out of the trust to create and manage that account for us. And I did want to, we've had that interest in the past from our own staff to do that. And so I was interested. I wanted to make sure that there's been some concerns in general about TikTok, just in like government agencies and things like that. So I had to take that to the city to discuss it before I could commit the library to like working with an intern. So I just wanted to report back on that part of it. So you're absolutely right. Sorry if I rambled a little bit, but that was one of the things that came up in the discussion last time around.
Yeah, and Maribel, last time, do you remember the focus group for the strategic plan that you had set up at Community Housing Works?
I didn't attend, but yeah.
Okay, but there were a lot of people from Compact there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The youth, even the surveys.
And this was not just that meeting, but a lot of the people who are counselors, whatever you call them, had no idea what the library was offering. So it was frustrating to listen to. Yeah. So that's all this came about.
Just so I'm clear on the TikTok part, is there any concerns from the city in regards to having an account?
So the preliminary meeting that I had with Teresa Collins, who's a communications director at the city, is just that they are leery of using TikTok for promotion because multiple factors. She had concerns, just not from any kind of like negative standpoint, but just the fact that like she's got teens and she's got people in her area, and so listening to them and being on top of the trends and making those people like see the videos and everything, it's basically like you could be on 24 hours a day and still be missing stuff. And so she's concerned that even if we had an intern that we were paying and that we were like, overseeing, that they probably still even wouldn't be able to keep up just because they're probably going to be a student and they're going to have other responsibilities to get the kind of engagement that we were looking for. And also there's been other concerns among staff that TikTok maybe as a platform, it's great to look out for teens and get them involved, but we as a library, and most of what we're doing on social media is promoting our events and our services, and that the thought is that teens wouldn't necessarily be interested in that, even if we are putting it on TikTok or trying to find ways to videoify it. So we were kind of working out some ideas and looking at what that would take and really kind of getting a little bit more feedback into, because, they're on top of all the social media because the city wants to reach out to different demographics as well. So that's the initial impressions, that was just their 2 cents. So we're kind of looking at other libraries, we're talking to other libraries, seeing what they're doing, seeing how much time they're taking, what their engagement looks like, what kind of content they're putting out there. Like I said, most of the stuff that we've seen successful with library type TikToks is more towards adults, and it's book talk, which we've talked about doing as well. But again, that's probably going to be no more than 2 videos a week max if we're doing it. So that's kind of where we're at with the conversation at the moment.
Cool, thank you.
So that's in regards to TikTok, and so there are other social media platforms which I know the library uses, and you said promotes a lot of their events. So amongst the social media staff, how are those duties separated? Because with Instagram, there's the Reels that could be used, which is like TikTok, but on Instagram.
So we have 9 people on our social media team. We have the main platforms that we post to. We post on Facebook, which is obviously going to reach an older demographic, Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter, which obviously Tumblr and Twitter are kind of on the decline. There's just not that many users, and our content is not well placed there, I think. That's my opinion. But our Instagram is probably our most popular platform, and obviously closely followed by Facebook. We do have 2 employees that do Reels occasionally. They'll do like highlights from different events we've done, or they'll do like up and coming kind of like, this is, new in the library, or check this out. But I think they're probably doing that more on a like bi-weekly basis, like every other week. So, and I think we've tried it on Facebook, because I know you can kind of do some of that on Facebook, like Facebook stories or something, and it's just not we stopped doing it on there because we weren't getting really any kind of engagement. But we get some on the Reels.
And then I think it might also be worth discussion with the Threads, Instagram Threads, which is a new thing that's coming, which is intended to replace Twitter. So that I think would be something that we can explore jumping on board, since it's something that's relatively new.
Thanks, so take a look at that.
Thanks, Katie, for bringing this back on the agenda and reporting back on the investigation that you did with TikTok. I appreciate that. So when I spoke about that last month, it was just reaching the younger demographic, as you mentioned, and one of the things was TikTok. I do still feel like we could possibly use an intern to help make those Instagram Reels, and then also reaching the working class individuals that are between the ages of 20 and 40 on LinkedIn. I know we have a LinkedIn account, but I feel like it's not being utilized very much. And I do feel like there's other areas that we have established that we could just pay a little bit more attention to try to reach out to the younger demographic. And also outside of social media, it would just be great to brainstorm on other ways we can reach the younger demographic. I know that Escondido Public Library does a good job at showing up at the open houses at the high schools I have seen. And so if there's like anything that we could do to spruce up, more engagement there too, since we have the face-to-face with them, just throwing ideas out there. It doesn't all have to be social media, but like getting more community involvement is something that the board definitely needs to support the library on, and this is just a good topic to keep talking about.
Yeah, I kind of want to add to that. I think there's also some value because one of the things that, I really want to focus on is not necessarily adding more work to the library staff, because I feel like they have already a lot on their plates, but really having the community and local partners working for us. And so if we're trying to target teenagers or young adults, there are nonprofits or community partners that work with those populations. So maybe for right now, it's inviting them to hold meetings or gatherings at the library. So the number one thing is getting them to the library. And then it's like, oh, they have this and they have those parking passes. That's pretty cool, right? While they're waiting for the ride, they're just going to hang out in the library, and that leads to exploration. And so that, right, and we're getting use of the facility. So I think using our community partners to work for us and bring in the traffic and that audience is one approach. I think the other approach too, in regards to any type of the social media, I think using the community to work for us. So targeted campaigns where it's, tag us or post this right at the end of the week. We're going to select someone at random to win this copy of a book or whatever it is. That way you'll get people reposting and they're sharing on their stories and their friends are seeing. I know I've shared a couple events that the library has hosted, and some friends have been like, that's pretty cool, I'm going to go to it, right? And so you have others sharing rather than library staff having to, schedule in time to be reposting these items.
At the last meeting, we talked about potential changes to the website as well. Has there been any progress in the last month, or when do you see progress potentially happening?
So they're still in the, I believe they're in the negotiation stages. Last I heard is they were taking it to council to get approval to move forward with the vendor they selected. And the tentative start date, from what I understand, was sometime in September. I have not gotten an update since they were supposed to go to council, so I don't have that at the moment, but I will send an email out tomorrow.
Well, yeah, just keeping us updated on that progress.
I think with the transition to our later meetings, it would be really interesting or cool to reach out to some of the other commissions and have them brief maybe on like what is their commission about, and then we can maybe inform them on how the library can help. I'm specifically thinking about like the Historic Preservation Committee. I know a lot of people do a lot of research in the Pioneer Room for that. And I think, getting back to what Maribel said, with regard to, having people work for us, or, I think our committee members and commission members across, the city are the most involved volunteers in our city. And so I think extending that and building that relationship with them is kind of like a first level of public outreach, right? So I wonder if we could, reach out to some, is that allowed? Yeah, the other committee members or commission members? Okay. Okay. Okay, great. So I know an individual on the art commission. I don't know if that's something that, is you think is a good idea, but it'd be cool to have them come and then, kind of, I don't want to say troubleshoot, but figure out ways where we can benefit each other and really get the word out about what the library does. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. And then do we want to talk about, what a committee for public outreach would look like? Okay.
That was going to be one of my next questions.
Oh, good.
What are the bylaws connected to that? How do you form it? Because I'm unfamiliar with that process.
To form the committee?
Yeah.
The bylaws kind of come after.
Okay.
So it's really, you guys already have it on the agenda, so it's not, yeah, you can discuss and, yeah, it's not the other. Yeah.
So I think the only thing with committees is that you cannot have a majority of board members.
I was gonna say you can only
Have two.
You guys have
Yeah.
5, so you can just.
Okay.
Does anyone want to take the lead on the Public Outreach Committee?
Right now, I'm up to my eyeballs. Maybe somebody new would like it. I don't know.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be daunting, right? So, I mean, we're all aboard. I think the way that I would envision a committee working is, you know, you have two board members, they work internally, they kind of set the agenda, like what are we going to talk about in the next meeting with regard to the planning outreach, and then as part of the meeting, you can kind of dole out or delegate, you know, tasks. So it'd be really about like, you know, just starting like, oh, what does this look like? What do we want to accomplish? Like, and then.
Well, what if one of us contacts historical preservation and one of us contacts art? That would spread it out a little.
Yeah.
So I guess in terms of the committee, it could be up to 2 board members, but ideally, we're trying to bring in other partners.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
And so with that conversation, is there a target number of members in the committee that we would want? Because I wouldn't mind leading it. I guess for me, it's more just knowing what that's going to
Yeah.
entail, right?
Sure.
So I think my dream for a committee, which would require some time, is to have, you know, someone from the schools, like a rep from the schools, and maybe 1 or 2 local community partners.
Yeah.
At least, you know, one from the preservation committee.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it's really identifying like what exactly will that committee entail, and what are we trying to get out of that?
Yeah, and I think defining that is a great first step for whoever decides to be on the committee, right? Is like understanding, okay, you know, what do we want to do here? Who do we want to be part of it? What's our, you know, charter kind of, like, what's the purpose? So, Maribel, if,
Yeah, I can take that.
Okay, cool. Okay, I mean, like, I don't want to put
No,
words
yeah.
on you, right? But like, I think you have a great vision of what you want this to be, and I think, you know, we would absolutely support you. We could start small, right? So like next meeting, we can come back, talk about what your thoughts are, and then, you know, one of the 4 of us could jump on and help you out, or
Yeah, that sounds good, because if you have like 2, okay, one's busy, the other one can pick up, you know, like kind of tag team it. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in helping
Okay.
if you need help on that.
And then one of the other things I kind of envision, I wonder if we could, you know, we host so many events in Escondido, so many street fairs, you know, we do the farmer's market every Tuesday. Like, what if we just had like a permanent booth, right? And it wouldn't even have to be specific to the library, but it could be specific to our boards and commissions. So when people have a question, they can come and, you know, I would be happy to sit at a booth and be like, hey, like, this is what we do. And then, you know, next to me could be the planning commission member, and they could say, hey, like, this is how we integrate, this is what we do. So I'm wondering if like that's, oh, that's great. Oh, that's wonderful.
They did it at the Thursday market.
Okay.
It was the same similar concept.
Yeah. Okay, great. And of course, like, you know, the point wouldn't be to be there like every single week, but it'd be, you know, take turns, or, you know, because that way at least there's a representation there, and then you can, I don't know, maybe.
I'll bring it up to Zach too.
Okay.
Just because if you wanted to, great to be like a city board commission.
Yeah, just like a meet and greet, or like, how can we help you, or like, hey, this is what we do, you know, and that way too you get probably more people coming up who might be interested in volunteering, or, you know, just create more of a community feel.
And then I did, sorry, I want to loop back a little bit towards the conversation about the website and the vendor. So I know the library currently has their summer reading program going on. So the where community members will go and sign on and keep track of their progress, is that connected to the current vendor for our website, or is that a separate entity?
No, it's a separate platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would want to explore if there's maybe a different system or software that we can use. I feel like I'm pretty tech savvy, and sometimes I have a hard time navigating from, my son's account to my account and tracking our progress. And the just the interface of it looks very outdated. So, I mean, if possible, I think that's something that I would like to explore. We can make it more appealing, again, to a younger audience that way as well. Because, again, I feel like I'm tech savvy, and I have a hard time.
Okay, great. Do we need to make a motion to form this committee?
Are you gonna, do you wanna form it and make a motion to appoint you guys? Okay, sure.
Okay,
Because it's on the agenda, so.
Yeah.
we're gonna- sure. Did you wanna bring it back like next time, then I can talk to Zach about meeting and forming and all that kind of stuff.
oh,
Like, is it
I
gonna be
see.
like a standing item where you guys will report on?
Kind of what we did with strategic planning committee, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps it forefront, yeah.
Mhm.
Just because I know they're switching out, so like Dara will be taking like liberty on some of it, so I can communicate to Zach just to make sure it's like.
Okay.
So is there a motion to appoint Mary Bell
So,
to the?
yeah, well, I'll go ahead and make a motion to form the Library Outreach Committee, appointing both Maribel and Francis to serve on this committee.
Oh, I second, sorry.
I second, sorry. Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Just wanted to say thank you all for your engagement and involvement in trying to get the word out. We really appreciate it, and I'm really excited for what this committee is going to do.
Thanks, Katie. And I meant to ask, doesn't the library have booths that you regularly attend in the community for events?
Outreach?
Yeah.
Yes. We have like all of the fixins for like if we go out to like a street fair or something, like we've got a banner and we've got a pop-up and all that. We used to have some standard ones we went to every year, but after COVID, we've kind of taken a step back and we're looking at which ones we want to go to, we can staff. I know for sure we're going to be staffing a booth at the Grape Day Festival on September 9th. Thank you. September 9th. So that was really popular last year. We saw over 200 people for the Pioneer Room stuff. So this year I think we're sending some folks from literacy and some of our other departments as well. It really just depends. It's kind of like people reach out to us, we go, or if it's something where we know the members of the community are going to show up. We've done Grand Avenue Festival. I'm not sure what's on the agenda, but we can have a report on that next time. What's upcoming?
And then I'm just wondering if Dara would mind if sometimes this committee crashed one of those events with you guys.
I'm sure we would be more than happy to have you guys help us out. That definitely worked well for us when we did the strategic plan booth at Grand Avenue. So
Okay, awesome.
yeah.
So I wanted to add to that a little bit. So, because I know when we were doing strategic planning, one of the conversations was it's great to be at the events, but we need to evaluate, the use of staff time and resources to be at these tabling events, and what are we getting out of them? Is there a way for us to be able to track what the outcome of tabling? So again, I'm just spitballing here, but let's say we're at the Grape Day Festival. What if we give out pamphlets, right? And it's like, the library is going to have these activities in the upcoming month. If you take this flyer with you to the library, you'll get a prize with maybe like a unique code or something that lets us know if this flyer came from the Grape Day event. This flyer came from when we did Grand Avenue on this date. And for those that aren't going to come in for in-person programming, maybe there's a QR code, a unique QR code that when they scan it and they do whatever it is that we're asking them to do, it'll again identify what event it is that they attended. And that way we know if we get 50 flyers, in the month of October, it's probably coming from September's Grape Day Festival. That way, I think we can get a better measure of what we're actually getting out of these tabling events. Do you again, feel that's something that could be trackable?
Definitely, like, we've done things that are similar to that in the past, now distant past, so like 2016, 2017 when I started. And we definitely did have, like, we've used those types of metrics at least like during summer reading or something where we're printing a lot of very expensive, nice, full color, glossy brochures where we know we printed X number and then this is how much is left at the end of the month. So we were able for a while to kind of determine what was going, what was not going, what was popular. We could definitely do something similar to that. The QR code thing is going to be tricky just because of where we're at in flux with the website. Google Analytics sunsetted what we were using, and we didn't migrate to the new format because we're going to be switching vendors. So I would say QR code and visits is something that we'll probably have to wait until we go on board with our new platform. Sorry, it's late. My brain is not working. But definitely the paper I think is great. I think we could even just for an engagement type thing, I think a good idea that we've done before with giveaways and such is, take a picture of yourself holding this flyer and hashtag whatever, and like you'll get entered to win. We actually just, thanks to you guys, got some nice swag that we can give away that's branded. We got coffee cups, we got pens, we got all kinds of really cool stuff. So that is definitely something that we could kind of even use those as like our promos. But yeah, I absolutely love that idea.
Okay, moving on to strategic plan objective 3, support Escondido economy.
Okay, so the support Escondido economy is the third goal objective for our strategic plan. The goal statement is that EPL offers materials, technology, programs, and spaces to support the local businesses and residents to learn, connect, and have fun. So the first one is bring job seekers and employers together by hosting or co-hosting one job fair. That actually we just did, and it was fantastic. We partnered with the San Diego Workforce Partnership. We had, this is slightly outdated, our notes, so I need to update it, but it was in June. I believe it was the 3rd, maybe the 5th. It was a Tuesday. We had to move it from a Saturday to a Tuesday because of our partner. But San Diego Workforce Partnership brought in 35 employers. We had 233 attendees, and they even gave us free NCTD passes so that people could take the bus for free. Yeah, to the library. It was amazing. But what we did learn from that is that it probably is way too big to host in the physical library building, so we are looking for a larger venue to host it next year. So that's one way that we're working on getting job seekers and employers into the library. So another one is increasing patron online safety by offering 3 social media safety and best practices classes. That is something that is in progress. Increasing digital equity by offering 2 quiet private spaces for technology use and study. Again, that's part of the infrastructure grant is to build in study rooms, and we're waiting on that. The next couple of those are all kind of related with the infrastructure grant, including space for maker space equipment and coffee bar. Those are things that we have to wait on infrastructure and or outside funding for. Engaging elementary and middle grade students by offering STEAM area for coding and robotics. I know it says area, but we do a lot of STEAM programming, and we are actually working with the San Diego Air and Space Museum to offer, like, they come and they do these cool, like, STEM-themed story times and bring hands-on equipment and robotics and things the kids can play with. We also partner every year with Cal State San Marcos and do a month-long weekly STEAM event for tweens ages 9 to 12, and that's been very popular. And then again, more creating welcoming changes to the facility, waiting on infrastructure grant, and then pop-up services, including local retail and government spaces. We're looking at doing that, and we're going to start that discussion next year because, as we've talked about with outreach, that can be quite staff intensive. We've been partnering really well with the city's volunteer coordinator. Her name is Leticia Leal, and she has been wonderful in helping us get volunteers. So that's definitely something we might investigate to help us staff a project like that. Does anyone have any questions?
For timeline, I realize that you guys have been starting some things that weren't supposed to start for a year or two, but well, why not?
Right.
If you can, you can. So for the STEAM, is that something that's going to continue?
Yeah.
Even though it says you're not going to start till 2026?
Yeah, I mean, STEAM is a huge part of core learning for students, and it is, something that our constituents in Escondido, or our patrons in Escondido, are very passionate about. We have a couple of award-winning robotics teams at local high schools in the area, and so it's programming that we really are interested in having on as often a basis as we can. So yeah, we've made a lot of great partnerships with, like I said, Cal State San Marcos and the San Diego Air and Space Museum, and we're hoping to continue those partnerships as long as they're willing to come talk to us. And I think we've been doing the Cal State San Marcos one since we reopened from COVID, so I think it's been happening since 2021. So I think that we will most likely continue that indefinitely.
Okay, I'm noticing STEAM on the left side and STEM on the right.
The A is art, and I always naturally say STEAM because that's how my kids' school says it, but it's technically STEM because it's science, technology, engineering, and math. Some people throw in art. I think it's kind of a separate thing, but like my brain just puts STEAM in there because it makes the word, it's just my brain. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just wanted to share something that I observed at the Cal State San Marcos Library in regards to the 2 quiet private spaces. Because I know with our current building, space is a limitation, right? And the way it was built, we can't necessarily create little rooms. But they do have this very impressive little hub thing, and it's just kind of in one of the aisles that you can go in. Let's say you want us to be in the library to focus, but you're going to be in a Zoom, right? You don't want to hear others and you don't want to be heard. You can go in there and it's soundproof. So they told me you can basically go in and yell and nobody will hear you. And they can't see that someone's in there, but I think in terms of, limitations within the library, I don't know how costly that could be, but I think that's something that would be worthwhile to explore. I believe Cal State has 2 or 3 in the bottom level of the library.
What are they called again?
I have no idea what they're called. I can look into that, but it's just this cubicle glass thing that you go into so that you can do your classes. Yeah.
Do you know if they're equipped with any kind of like smart TV projector Zoom system, or are they just kind of like bring your own laptop and it's quiet? I'm just curious if you know.
I don't know,
Okay.
but I can venture over there and take a look.
That's like a fun field trip.
Okay.
I've seen those pods before. I don't know what their names are, though. But I guess the one question I had are just maybe for future updates, just in regards to that infrastructure grant. It says completion planned for 2026, but just maybe confirmation, like things are moving in one direction or another.
Noted. Yeah. I will just give a quick update on that. So last we heard, so the city has several large projects out right now, and so they did a big, is it RFP? I don't remember what it's called, but to get project managers for all of those projects, including, I think there's like an aquatics complex and then the library, and there's like 3 or 4, I think. And so what they did is they did a big recruitment at once, and then they, have done all of the processing. So I believe they're at the point now where they've either selected or are about to select who they've chosen, and then they're moving forward. And so last I heard, I'm pretty sure they selected the one for the library, and it will be moving. I think it was approved. So they're getting everybody on board. So I'm hoping that when Dara's back in September, by then we should have an update.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this topic? Okay, thank you, Katie. And now we're moving on to the statistics report.
Okay, me again. So there's the monthly statistics report. We've got the 3 months, May, April, and March of 2023. Our overall circulation is up. We actually had a pretty good increase on our digital stuff. Our holds satisfied is up as well, most likely because of the summer. We get a lot more traffic and a lot more people traveling who get items that are on hold. Pretty consistent use of Link Plus. We had a little bit of a dip in our Lent, in our borrowed, but our Lent is up as well. Pretty much things are on par. I didn't see anything really out of the ordinary. You can really see that our attendance is up at our events, which is great. And our volunteer hours are also steadily increasing. They're going to be really high for June because we have all of our teen volunteers for the summer.
So what is the live offsite program outreach attendance? Is that including the summer reading challenge?
It will, but this is for May, and we didn't start programming until June.
What is that huge increase, or is that a typo?
So in April, we had 1,934, and we had 2,029, which is really only, 70 some odd different?
I'm looking at the second to the last line.
Oh, yeah, that's a typo. I apologize.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I must have messed up one of I probably just added that 0. It's probably 142.
Okay.
I'll take a look at that. I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you.
I think I meant to ask this last time, but I forgot. But what is a take-home kit?
So take-home kits are something we really started during the pandemic because we couldn't have in-person craft events or anything like that. It was basically a take-and-go kit that people could come into the library and get all the supplies in one little kit, had instructions. Sometimes we did an accompanying instruction video on YouTube or on Instagram, and they were very popular. However, as we've gone back to in-person programming, we've largely gone away from take-home kits, except for literacy. Literacy has found they work fantastically for a lot of their families for literacy programs because their whole family can then do it together at home. So every month you're pretty much going to see 80 take-home kits. Those are all literacy take-home kits. We aren't really doing take-home kits in any of the other divisions anymore, but they're all for our literacy department.
Is there a cap on how many kits can be essentially delivered each month, or?
I mean, literacy is kind of its own unique animal because we have a certain number of learners or ESL students. So, I'm guessing that we have 80 students, so they each get one kit. But, if we had more students, we would make more kits to accommodate however many we had. That's just kind of how many we've had for the last couple months.
Got it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just noticed March had 91, so they went down a little since March. But I also just finished the June stats, which are not on here, and we had 80 again, so my brain's...
Yeah, I asked because I didn't know if just someone randomly showed up at the library and asked for a take-home kit, would they be accepted or denied?
They'd just be like, what? The staff would probably be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, any other comments on the report? Okay, moving on to the library director's report. Katie?
So many in a row today. Okay, so we kicked off our summer reading challenge on June 12th, and so far we have over 1,200 people signed up, with 158 babies, 490 kids, 240 tweens, that's kids between 9 and 12, 113 teens, and 203 adults. These numbers were pulled a couple weeks ago, so I'm guessing it's gone up significantly. And the challenge goes through the end of July, so we'll definitely see an increase. Adult services programming was very successful in June. They had their career fair, like I mentioned, on the 6th, 233 attendees and 35 employers. We had the concert with 43 attendees. We had a short story writing and publishing workshop. We have a really active writers group in Escondido, and so they've kind of been asking us for all these like additional workshops and things like that, and we've had wonderful success in getting people to run them, and it's just we're very happy with it. So Mr. Peterson ran that workshop, and they had 23 registrants for all 4 sessions. We did our second historic look at Escondido program, which consists of a lecture and then a walking tour. We had 14 attendees at the lecture and 23 attendees at the walking tour. They're very popular. And John Archer actually got, I think, a commendation from the city for his work with history, and we're really proud of him. He did a great job. And then we had our first beginning genealogy workshop on the 29th with 10 attendees, which was really good. Staffing changes in the library. So Catherine Colvin, who was our librarian 1 in adult services, her last workday was on Friday the 7th, last Friday. She took a librarian position at the 4S Ranch branch of San Diego County Library. It's a very small branch, so she'll probably be doing pretty much everything. We are really sad to see her go, and we wish her the best. We will start recruitment for her position sometime in August. I will also be leaving for an opportunity at the Carlsbad City Library as Senior Librarian of Collections and Technical Services. My last day will be next Friday, the 21st, and I will start over there on the 24th, very quick after the weekend. And my duties for now will be absorbed by the management team while they figure out the next steps in what they're going to do. So you'll probably see kind of a rotation of our other M-team staff accompanying Dara, at least until they can figure it out. So that is it.
I have a question on, at least for the genealogy workshop.
Yes.
Because I think I was a little bit late to that game. I had tried to sign up and there was a wait list.
Yes.
So are you able to monitor that and see
Yes.
what interest level? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so the situation with the genealogy workshop is we had it in the Pioneer Room because we also were teaching them what resources were available, but we had a volunteer who was doing the workshop. Her name is Beth McIntyre. She actually was a librarian at our library before she retired, and she's come back as a volunteer, which is great. But we only had enough space in the Pioneer Room for 10 people because we provided the laptops that we were teaching them how to use to do the research. So it was limited insofar as how many people she could manage in training, but also how many computers. We only have 12 laptops that we can lend, and we had to retain 2 for the public service desk. So we know that it was very popular. We had quite a long wait list. So the next time around, we may opt to go to Pioneer Room and have multiple people helping or doing more of a overview and less of a hands-on training. But yes, we do monitor that, and especially when we get that kind of an interest, we take that to heart for our next planning.
Is there follow-up with that? So let's say you guys are going to start planning for next month, another 1 or 2 months from now. Do you already send like a follow-up email to those people of like, hey, you were previously on a wait list for this workshop. Here's another one that's being planned.
I will have to take a look because our calendaring system has a lot of options when you create the event. So there is an event that has like a notification element, and I'd have to talk to the person who created the event and see if they have that enabled. We do try and publish everything in the e-newsletter, and it usually comes out at least, I try my best for a month before the event, but sometimes it's not, it's sooner. But I will definitely find out from our staff about that.
Thank you.
I just have a quick two-parter. First, thank you for all you've done for Escondido Public Library. I've only known you in a few months here, and it's obvious you're dedicated, so thank you. And the other part is with the 1,000+ for the summer reading challenge, did that meet expectations?
Yeah, we always have, I think last year was our first year post-COVID that we were kind of approaching our normal, which I think, I'd have to go take a look at our stats, but I mean, I think when I first started here, we were just around 2,000 people, and that was 2016. And I think since we've been with LS&S, because we had to pare down a little bit, I think we've been in the upper thousands, like 1,800, 1,900. So I would imagine, I mean, that's halfway through when we're already at 1,000. So as long as if we keep growing at that rate, we should hit where we're at. I mean, that's definitely exceeded last year. So we're at the same time period.
Cool.
Yeah.
Follow-up question on that. Because I've lately, been doing the summer reading challenge annually, but online. I know back in the day, I think you guys would have like the paper version where you would write down what books you read, at least as a teen, the teen version. Do you guys still offer that option for any families who may not have that internet access?
So we have brochures for each age level, which does have space inside to write or to mark. And then what'll happen is when those people come in to get their prizes, especially the kids, our volunteers will input it into the computer for them, because we do all of the prize drawings and everything automated through that platform. So yeah, they can track it themselves. They just need to bring it to a service desk for us to input for them.
Thank you.
I do want to echo what Frances said and just say it's been such a pleasure working with you, Katie. I think we're really going to miss you, at least I am. But yeah, you've just been wonderful, and I've really enjoyed it. Wish you all the best in Carlsbad.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Yes, you're going to leave a huge set of footprints to fill. You do so much for the library, and it's been greatly appreciated and fun to work with you.
Thank you.
I know everyone said it already, but I have to say it too. Thank you for your 7 years dedicated to Escondido, and thank you for making my journey on this board easy, and you've been so informative and helpful, and I just really appreciate all the passion that you have poured into us.
Thank you.
And I hope you say hi if we ever pop over to Carlsbad.
Absolutely. So I just emailed you guys when Frances asked me. I emailed you guys all my regular contact info. So feel free to reach out. You want to set up a tour, or you want to chat with their board of trustees, or you just want to come say hi. They have a good coffee shop. Check out what's possible. But yeah, I have truly enjoyed working with all of you, and it was not an easy decision to make. It really wasn't. And I really appreciate my whole team, and we've done such amazing things, and I know, especially you guys are so engaged, and I love that you have all these great ideas, and I think there's just so much potential for us to move forward, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the trustee library use report, and this is a time where we reflect over the past month of any library usage that we may have had in Escondido or other libraries. So, Carolyn, you want to go first?
Yes. So one of the things I came across on social media was the fact that you guys did an event with 3 pilots. I think they were Navy pilots from San Diego. And the picture I especially liked was one of the pilots was a woman, and she was posed with 2 small little girls who were twins. And I just thought that was so wonderful because it, I think when I was a little girl, women couldn't be pilots, and I remember telling my mom that I wanted to be a fighter pilot when I was little, and she said, I don't think so. So it's just very great to see that and see, the inclusion there, and then also just giving a role model to young women.
Just going down the row? Sure. Cool. Yeah, I've ramped up my increase of Hoopla and Libby, and I found them very easy to use, impressed with their services, but I have to adapt now to using audiobooks, which is new to me. So there was 2 books that I was looking for to not buy, and they were available there as audiobooks, so grateful for the library for that. Also visited the Pioneer Room, and then I had separate visits with my kids to the library, one including, I think it was either last Saturday or the Saturday before, and we could hear violin and a piano playing in the background, and one of my kids wanted to crash whatever was happening in that room, but luckily it was just ending, so we didn't crash it. And a massive amount of people poured out of that room, so it looked like it had great attendance, and those were my experiences.
Well, mine echoes Francis, because I was appreciating that you guys still do the second Saturday concert series online, because I was really interested to hear the violinist and the piano player, but I wasn't able to attend in person. So I joined online, and so really love that that's still being offered. And I can't believe how good they were. They were amazing. So it's so awesome that that's a free event for our community.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting back into doing some things, like going over to pick up my my state park pass after this meeting's over, and my activity with the Escondido Community Foundation and the Charitable Foundation of the Chamber of Commerce, and my Rotary Club's 5K event on September 9th. Once my life gets back to normal, I'll spend some more time.
Yeah, so I've kind of mentioned this throughout. Been doing that summer reading challenge online for myself and for my son. The genealogy program that I need to jump on right away next time. I blanked. What was the other one? One of you touched on it. I blanked on it, but those are the 2 for now.
Okay, thank you. With that, I think we can end the meeting. Meeting adjourned.
I wanted to ask y'all if you had anything specific you want on the next agenda, just because I'm taking notes for Dara for her to build it. So if you have anything you would like, you can either let me know or you can email me and Dara. But we'll do what we've been doing and send you out a list of what we already had on the agenda.
If possible, just an update on the grant or
Okay.
the project manager
Sure.
stuff.
Cool.